Are you ready to start? Or do you want to grab some popcorn first?
I think I'm ready.
All right, great. Okay, great. I have to say this was like the perfect movie for me because I am afraid, of water and sharks. So usually when I go to the beach, I just look, but I don't go into the water, So it was like
Oh, you
perfect.
don't at all.
No, I did when I was a kid, but then for whatever reason, I started to think too much about sharks, which is like, I don't know. Well,
I do the same thing a little bit as well. I think it's a really natural human fear because we're so vulnerable in the water and we don't know where they could possibly be. So I think it's a natural fear.
yes, absolutely. But in the movie before the horror starts, we get to see your character Cass and Charlie, having a conversation about their current situation. And Charlie goes like, "Why do you always have to be, that pragmatic, And I was wondering if that is something, if that is a character trait you can actually relate to, if you are also, like a pragmatic thinker sometimes, or if you can actually, overthink stuff sometimes.
Yeah, I actually really connected to that part of of Kaz because does she overthinks things a little bit. She's really practical. She's really methodical, and I am the same way. I think in a emergency situation, I'm pretty good at handling myself and not freaking out. And similarly to that, she's a take charge person. She in a bad situation, she knows what to do and she just goes and does it. And I think part of the reason why she was like that is because she studied and worked as a nurse for many years. So she had to be that way. She had to be really good under pressure. And so I see a lot of that in myself as well.
All right, great. And in the very same scene, they get a phone call and they get like a job, and they get that phone call pretty much in a moment they needed it the most. And I was wondering, if we go all the time back to the beginning of your career, I was wondering if, because there are so many people that don't know what it means to be an actor. They don't know how many auditions you have to do, and how many no's you hear before you get finally a yes, and they don't know how much time you spend with waiting until you finally know. Um, so I was wondering if you remember a part or a yes that you did receive in a time you needed it the most.
Oh wow, what a good question. I feel like every time I've heard a yes, it feels amazing and pretty magical. But there was a TV show I did after 30 Rock. It was called Public Morals, and that one is one that I fell in love with it. I love the project so much, and I knew I was in the mix for it, and I was waiting for months to hear anything. And then when I finally got the yes, that felt so incredible just because I wanted it so badly. And
Yeah.
there's so many of those moments where you want something so badly, and like you said, it doesn't work out, or they go a different direction. So for that one, it was something that I was waiting on for a long time and just wanted to work out, and it did. So it felt really incredible then. Yeah.
Ah, that's amazing. That when you can go like when you can like celebrate, finally.
Yes.
Especially.
Every time a casting decision goes your way, it feels like a fun celebration because it is, it's a hard business, and it's so fun to be able to do what we do, and to get cast on really cool projects is always such a fun, exciting adventure every single time.
Yeah. And speaking of an adventure, flying can be an adventure as well. And I was able to relate when Joji actually told Charlie that he's not really that much
Yeah.
into flying. I was able, that's me, And I was like, when I was a teenager, I was like, I will never fly because I'm too afraid, but then, when once I was like 17, 18, 19, I started to realize, hold on, if I don't fly, I will never get to see Australia, America. I will, it will
Yeah.
just be me staying where I am. So I knew I had to overcome that fear, And so and Joji, of course, he goes on the journey because he wants to support Michelle, of course. So I was wondering if there's a fear that you had to overcome in order to don't make yourself, stand still.
Yes, actually. So I'm a big adventure girl. Like I love anything active outdoors, anything adventurous and thrilling. So, but my big hang up was that I had a really bad fear of heights.
Ooh,
So that kind of holds you back from doing adventures that you want to do. And so in 2019, which is the year that I shot Great White, at the end of that year, I kind of made a pact with myself that I was going to get over that fear of heights. And so I started with, I did rappelling off of a really tall building here in LA for a charity event. And then I went cliff jumping when I was in Hawaii, which both of these things were terrifying, by the way, but I did them both. And then the biggest thing I had on my list was to go skydiving. I've always wanted to do, but was just like my biggest fear. And once we wrapped Great White, Aaron and I, who plays Charlie in the movie, he and I went skydiving like 2 days after we wrapped, and we did it in Byron Bay in Australia, and it was the most fun, and it really did cure my fear of heights. I mean, I get a little scared every now and then now, but not like how I used to be. I used to be the kind of person that would be like crying at the top of a building because I didn't want to look over the edge, and now it's just, it feels so good to have gotten over that fear.
right, exactly. You feel so different afterwards, right? You feel like finally, when I was on a plane for the first time, I was like, so that is it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And you realize it's like the fear is all in your head, really. You just have to push through it and come out the other side.
Absolutely. And it's so funny because fears can be so complex and funny as well sometimes, and sometimes it feels like like the most beautiful places to have the tendency to be the most dangerous ones as well, as we see in the sea, or during winter, of course it's fun to sit in front of a fire, but we don't want to be in the fire, but sometimes it's funny because someone might go like, that's what I wanted to say, look at how cute this dog is, and but then another person will be like super afraid of the dog, and the dog lover will be like, how can you be afraid of a chihuahua? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if there is something beautiful, a beautiful place or something beautiful that most people will call beautiful, but for whatever reason, it's something that scares you. Or if you actually know someone that is afraid of something that makes you go like, why?
I don't know if I have any places that I'm afraid of. I guess I've never really understand people who are afraid of spiders,
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Because
or
they
like
can do anything
that's
to you, right?
yeah. But I mean, I guess I get it, you know. I get they're gross and they're weird and they could bite you, but I've never been afraid of those things. Yeah, I would say that. Like I'm the kind of person that if I see a spider in my house, I'll like catch it and put it outside.
Exactly. And so if some of your friends is afraid, they can call you and you will just take it out without any.
And I'll take care of it.
um, so in the movie, as soon as they land on the strand, on the beach, they Benny actually calls Michelle's grandfather a legend. And I was wondering if there's a person you look up to, or what is your definition of a legend? When does a person turn into a legend, in your opinion?
Oh, that's a great question. I honestly think that could be just anyone who affects you in any deep and personal way. I don't think it has to be anything, extraordinary in the way that everyone else might think of that. It could just be something, someone could be a legend to you because they affected you and made you think about something differently, or they helped shape how you are or how you grew. I think that's what makes someone a legend. I think that if you can kind of touch someone in a certain way, like emotionally
Hmm.
or mentally, I think that's and then have it stick with them for a long time. I think that's pretty special, and
Absolutely.
I think that's what Benny meant by that too. I think he, in his community, in his group of people, they knew him as someone who sacrificed so much, and someone that they referenced and talked about for so long. So he was a legendary human because they looked up to him.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. And in the very same scene, Michelle tells Cass and then Charlie that she wants to spread her grandpa's ashes on the beach or on the sea. And Charlie actually tells Cass, "Hey, are you going to tell her that she's not allowed to do that?" And she's like, "No," because oh yeah, of course, because she breaks the rule in that moment because she feels like it's the right thing to do to just
Yes.
look
Mhm.
away in this case. So, and I feel like this is like something that we all do in life. To sometimes we break rules because we feel like it's just necessary in that specific moment. And I was wondering if you actually remember a time you broke a rule because you thought it's just necessary to do right now.
I feel like I do it all the time.
Really?
Yeah. I, I do. I mean, I inherently am a rule follower. I'm not like some crazy rebel, but I do think that there's like a gray area in most situations, and I'm a big believer in the gray area and then doing as you see fit in the moment. So like what Kaz did when it was, they shouldn't be doing that, but are they really going to ruin this person's whole mission and not let her do this beautiful thing that she wants to do? Like, of course not. That'd be ridiculous,
Yeah.
So
Well,
I can't recall like a specific moment, but there have been many.
right. Yes. We just do that because we feel it, right?
Yes, you just go as you feel. I try not to be too strict on anything.
And then in the movie also, once they make a shocking discovery on the beach, they have to make like a hard and necessary decision as well. Hard because Charlie and Cass know that they will have to take Michelle and Joji with them, and necessary because they have to go out to look for a potential survivor. uh, and I was wondering, because sometimes, especially when we chase dreams, we have to leave a lot behind sometimes. And I was wondering, when it comes down to your career as an actor, did you ever actually had to make a hard but necessary decision in order to get there where you are today?
Oh yeah. When I first started out when I was 17, I booked 30 Rock when I was 17, and I was about to go to college. Sorry.
Oh, so
I was
cute.
about to go to college. He wants to be in the interview apparently. Um, I was about to go to college in New York City and didn't want to. I didn't feel called to do that. I really wanted to work and try to make it in my career, even though I had just kind of started, and everything kind of fell into place really perfectly at the right time. I ended up not going to college. And so it wasn't like a hard decision to me at the time, but it was a little bit hard talking to my parents about it and just kind of going through, well, this is the riskier choice, obviously, because I don't know what's going to happen. And, everyone I knew was going to college and I was doing something that was very abnormal. So that was definitely one of those types of decisions that I knew what I wanted my decision to be. It was just a little tricky to, you know, uh, convince everybody else around me that it was the right choice.
But that is like so super important, because a lot of people, they don't follow their decisions because they are afraid of the opinions of others, and because they go like, no, no, don't do that, and then you end up not going the way you want to go.
And there are definitely really loved a project that I've been offered, and I have that like nagging thing in the back of my head is of like, well, is this good enough? Will someone not like it? What if someone doesn't like it? And I've really learned over the years to let that go and just follow what my instinct tells me. And most of the time it's right. And most of the time when I choose to do those projects that I'm iffy about, I have so much fun. And if nothing else, I've learned a lot in the process. And there's no harm. So I've learned over the years to really just follow what my gut instinct tells me, because it's usually right.
Absolutely. And speaking of instincts, one of the scenes in the movie that were also, very interesting is, when Cass asks Michelle about if she's a mother, if she has a kid, and and then Michelle says she's not ready for it. And I was wondering, because when it comes down to be ready for a big decision, no matter if it's on a personal level or on a professional one, it can be very interesting, because a lot of people do have like an inner timer, and they exactly know now is the time for this big decision. But some people don't have that, and then they make like a huge life-changing decision too early or too late. On a professional level, for example, a screenwriter might send in a screenplay too early, and then people might go like, grammar is terrible, man, you know, or they might send it in too late and realize, you know, that their story did not survive time. So I was wondering, when it comes down to you, how do you make sure you know that you are ready to do, you know, a specific big life-changing step? How do you make sure you're not too early or not too late?
You don't know. I don't know. I never know. I think that's the answer. I think that's the tricky part about life, is that we don't really ever know what's right and when it's right. I think you just have to, like I said before, just follow your gut instinct and hope for the best, and know that you're going to make mistakes along the way, because everybody does. It's just inevitable. It's humans. But I think, if anything, I've learned to let go of thinking about, is this the right choice? Is the wrong choice? And thinking of it as, I want to take this opportunity or make this decision and hope for the best. And if nothing good comes of it, at least I'll learn something from it. Because I don't think there's any way for us to ever know what the right decision is. I know that I tend to overthink decision making moments in my life, and it doesn't really serve me very well, because I could go back and forth with pros and cons forever. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, you just have to kind of just take a shot and see what happens. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and then you know for next time. So I don't think there is any way to ever know.
Absolutely. I
Just that.
agree. Because I never know too. I thought you might have the answer, but I.
No, I certainly don't have the answer.
All right, Katrina, my last question to you would actually be, you know, about this one. So you, of course, remember that one.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
you know, it's so fascinating because, you know, it's very rare that people remember movies, you know, like over 10 years after they came out, you know, because sometimes great movies come out, even Academy Award winning movies, but for whatever reason, people forget about them, you know, the more and more time passes. But Tucker and Dale versus Evil is not a movie that people forgot. And of course, people are still hoping that a sequel will ever happen. So I was wondering, after all these years, is a sequel something you would like to see happening still after all these years?
I would love it. I mean, it has been quite a while. I know that there was talk about it in the beginning. Uh, didn't work out. I don't know how the sequel would happen now, since so much time has passed. But if they found a way to do it, or even just do like a kind of a continuation, or like a, I don't know, Where Are They Now, or pick up a similar story as the characters have gotten older, I would I would do it in a heartbeat, because I had so
Oh,
much fun shooting the movie. It was such a great group of people, and Tyler Labine is still a friend, and I just, yeah, I would do it in a heartbeat.
ah, that is amazing to know. That's really fingers crossed. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. You never know, but it has, a long time has passed, and but I know that the fans have always wanted a sequel.
Absolutely, yes. Katrina, thank you so much for your time today. All the best for Great White, of course. Uh,
Thank
can't
you.
wait to talk to you again about your next project.
Yeah.
And all the best for your current series.
Thank you so much. It was so lovely to talk to you.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, thank you. Thank you, Carmine.